Cat had made up his mind. He would follow the path north, through the death yards, into the unknown. Mongrel had been good to him and Dog all these years. It was time to watch the last sunrise over the foglands, a sight that he'd certainly come to enjoy. However, there was always something ominous about Mongrel, and the foglands in general. Even the great big pillars of rock that rose out of the fog resembled the very fogmen that lurked within it. Could the stone structures be ancient memorials to the elusive, mythic Fog King? Well, Cat was no archaeologist, but it worked as a going theory. Wishing the shinobi guards farewell, it was time for their journey to begin. So much had changed since they first entered the fog all those years ago, and in all this time, not a single limb lost. However, the same couldn't be said for their enemies. While the clans were scattered, there was still enough for them to cause trouble. And the only thing that would slow Cat down now would be waiting for Dog to finish playing with the lost limbs of the fogmen. As the fog started to part, it gave way to a strange landscape. In the distance, oddly shaped trees could be seen. Surely that's what they were. And even though the fog was behind them, Cat could never shake the feeling that he was still being watched. And as the two neared that metal forest, it was clear to Cat now that these were no trees. The only way down from the hills was down a gully leading right into that metal forest. The structures stood silently above them, not even creaking in the breeze. The ravages of time had rusted this metal into place, and even more unsettling, there was a fog here too. Thankfully, it was nowhere near as thick as what they were used to. The sun could still find its way to the canyon floor. Small comfort that it was, nothing could prepare Cat for what came next. Great metallic hands rose from the ground, frozen in place. But not all was frozen here. There was something moving. Like a crab, it slowly scuttled, yet this was made of steel. It wasn't alive, or maybe it was. Whatever the case, it seemingly hadn't noticed Cat and Dog, and so they watched on as it passed through the shadows cast by the massive arms. How long had it wandered this ancient basin? Who made it? Why is it here? All questions worthy of an answer, but Cat wasn't going to get one just waiting here. For now, avoidance would suit them best. Better to be cautious than dead. But luckily for the two explorers, the basin held far more secrets than ancient grasping hands. It blended in well with the rest of the stone, but this was crafted by intelligent hands. What secrets could it hold, and what dangers might lurk within? Protected by barbed wire and a hefty gate, it is clear that this place hasn't been disturbed for a very long time. But Cat knew his way around locks. Surely he could pick it. Someone left this locked for good reason. After whistling a quick command to Dog, Cat crept forwards. There were multiple entrances, and he decided against using the first. Wrapping around the corner, he strained to hear any movement inside, but he could only make out the low thrum of power, and that's precisely what he found within. A hall, illuminated by ancient neon lights and some awfully familiar-looking scrap. Were these body parts of the creature he witnessed in the basin? Maybe. And if that was the case, were they being made here? There would have to be a creator then, a maker. There was a ramp leading to the next level, the sound of machinery even louder above. And so, creeping as best he can, Cat travels further in. There was the smell of oil and dust, and in the back of Cat's mind, a looming sense of dread. around in the chassis, Cat could see a number of small green panels, red and yellow bumps. He knew very little when it came to electronics, but he did know one thing. Those panels were valuable to the right person, of course. And now that he had a moment, this place did seem to be a workshop of some kind. Yet there were no workers, at least on this level. However, there still was one more. Creeping past the spidery remains, he makes his way to that top level. Sounds of movement, only the sound of engines and the smell of thick smoke. 6 generators, and they're not small either. What were they powering? The workstations below, or something else unknown? And while the generators were interesting, they were nothing compared to the true treasure this ruin held. Crate upon crate, and one very secure-looking safe. The lock is complex, more so than any Cat has faced so far. His training from the shinobi thieves helped him open many doors, but they neglected to teach him how to crack a safe. And so time would pass by as Cat tried again and again. The sun moved through the sky, and evening was nearer. Perhaps he'd do better starting with some of the smaller crates. And indeed, it wouldn't be until the sun had set below the horizon before Cat finally cracked that safe. Within its vault were treasures vastly beyond the imagination of Cat. Ancient textbooks and massively heavy square cubes. The purpose of them seemed to be outlined in the books, yet Cat could understand no more than the pictures therein. And after some very careful maneuvering, all of the contents are now packaged away. Every one of the pieces of ancient technology would be incredibly valuable, but for Cat, the true value lay in something else. It was in weight of all things. Condensed weight, and a fair amount of it as well. Each of these generator cores weighed 20 kgs. The CPUs just a single kg, and the power cores a kg by themselves. But with those few generator cores, Cat would be carrying over 100 kgs on his back. And one of the best ways to improve your strength in Kenshi is by carrying a whole heap of weight. Those metallic spiders weren't messing around. Cat would need every bit of strength he could muster if he was to survive out here. This wasn't a place, however, that Cat and Dog would want to stay long term. The building had power and shelter from storms, but Cat had only scraped the surface of what was out here. If he could take down the mechanical spiders in here, then surely he could handle the larger crab-like machines that wandered the basin. He'd certainly feel more comfortable after spending a day or two running up and down the gully with his backpack full of machinery, slowly but surely building up those muscles. They still had 2 to 3 weeks of food, so he could take the time now to train again. And I think that is exactly what Cat shall do. And so with that, our window into the world of Cat and Dog comes to a close once again. And once we next rejoin Cat, we can only hope that strength training has taken effect, as what waits for these two out there in the mists of obedience might be more than the duo can handle. But that is all for another time, and I would like to thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed our tale, our delve into the world of Cat and Dog, please consider leaving a comment or a like to let me know if you enjoyed the show. For now, I have been Rycon. You have all been awesome. And until next time, stay